So we are still with this verse in the Lamrim kind of stages of the path. Seeking samsaric pleasures is to do total suffering. They are uncertain and cannot be relied upon. What it means, they are uncertain and cannot be relied upon. You see, a certain pleasure or a certain kind of object, like, I don't know, I was about to say soup because I love soup, but maybe not, like ice cream or chocolate or something like that, a certain thing that that you experience as giving you a pleasant feeling. It's not, what does it say? It's uncertain and cannot be relied upon, because you can then, all you would have to do is eat the same thing every day and you would be happy. Is it like that? Totally not like that. It really depends on the state of your mind. And what is a total loss, I think, and a total waste, is that when you're sick and you're in a hospital and already you don't know whether you're going to heal and you're full of pain and all this, and then the people bring you all these very expensive things that they would never give you if you're healthy. But you can't eat them. I mean, you can eat them, but you don't experience pleasure because you're afraid and you're in pain. So I gave them to the nurses. So these expensive things, give it to the people that you like when they're healthy, not when they're in hospital. There's no point. Because we can only, the pleasures only work when your mind is in a good state. But very often we try to use them as consolation when we're not well. But then because the mind is closed, or even full of anger or depressed or something like that, it cannot experience the pleasant feeling. So a pleasant feeling or an unpleasant feeling doesn't come from the object. But it looks as if it comes from the object. What would be the proof that it doesn't come from the object? How can you kind of find out that the pleasant feeling cannot come from the object? Like the object cannot be the cause for your pleasant feeling. Why? We just said it.
Repeat it.
Because the same object does not give you the same feeling every time. That's why they're uncertain and we cannot rely on them. Sometimes they make you happy, sometimes not. Yeah? But it looks to our deluded mind as if the pleasant feeling comes from the contact with this object. Now the object has something to do in the whole thing. Yeah? The object serves as basis, but is not the cause. So the contact with the object, whether then you experience it as pleasant or unpleasant, depends on your relationship with the object, not the object. And it says when there is a pleasant feeling coming, it's positive karma ripening from a positive imprint. When it's an unpleasant feeling, when you experience it as unpleasant, it's some negative karma ripening. Yeah, this is why I said, when they talk about results, they're talking about subjective results, like how you experience the whole thing. Do you understand? We think that the object is the cause. This is why we go and find more, and then we think, oh, it's not this one. So maybe I need another chocolate or another kind of ice cream or another this. So this is why the gelaterias, they get more and more and more things, more and more to choose from. Have you ever noticed that? Whereas when I was a kid, it was vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry on a stick. That was it. And we were quite happy because it was new to have ice cream. Yeah. Then the cones came, and then this, and now it's like, these wrapped things that you buy in the supermarket, that's only for the poor people. I need to go to the gelateria, and I need to queue up for 3 hours in Bern. Not 3 hours. Sorry. I used to lie, now I exaggerate. That's the residue, okay? So, but there's these long queues in front of the Gelateria di Verna, which, the ice cream is very good because it's fresh and they use only natural ingredients and the whole thing. It's young people, it's a very good concept. They're incredibly successful, but it's still ice cream, And so the supermarket is next to it, the box where you can just take it out is there, nobody there. Everybody queuing up. in front of you. You're lucky that you have so many gelaterias in even Firol. You don't need to queue up, you can just go to the next one. But have you ever noticed that finally you made a choice? Like, they want to give you 3 kinds. So you say, no, I only want 1. Yeah, but you can have 3. No, but I only want 1. Because you should have only 1. Because when you have 3, you jump from one to the other. So each is new, and of course then it's new, so it's more interesting. If you have 3 scoops of the same kind, most probably we won't finish it, because you get bored with it. Because the pleasure is not there. Yeah, and this is what you can experience also when you first spoon, or first lick, wow. Second, wow. Third, your mind is already a bit somewhere else. Or maybe even thinking, next time I take this one. Yeah? This is what we do. Because it's not good enough. It's not what you expected it to be. And it has nothing to do with the taste. It has to do with the level of satisfaction that it gives you. And kind of deep down we understand that no satisfaction there. I need another one. And so we jump from one object to the other. And as we jump, because of our desire to have happiness, then we create negative karma. Not to find what we're actually looking for. Because you're not looking for pleasure. Like the other day, also somebody who did a course, she described it very well. She says, I was in love with this guy, and he kind of threw me out, but I'm addicted to him. I'm not addicted to him. I'm addicted to the feeling that he gives me. So she said, I call him heroin in my mind. We don't want the person. We want the feeling that this person is giving us. When they don't give us the feeling anymore, goodbye. And we go and find somebody new. This is how it works psychologically. Yeah? So we're attached. We're kind of addicted to these good feelings. Because, why? Because that would be our nature, to have this happiness and openness and all this. So, so they are the seeking samsaric pleasures. It's okay to have pleasures. The pleasure itself is not the suffering, but you're seeing it as the cause for your happiness. That is creating the suffering, because they're uncertain. You cannot rely upon them. If they would be the cause for your happiness, all you need is that kind of chocolate or that kind of ice cream. And there are people like this, always the same chocolate or always the same ice cream. But even then, if they eat too much of it, then it turns into suffering. You need to stop, otherwise it turns into suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss, for liberation. So we look somewhere else for happiness. And we start to look at the causes for the suffering, which is our negative emotions. Klesha. Klesha means, I don't know what it means in Sanskrit, but I know what it means in Tibetan. In Tibetan it means nyöng mong. And it means that a mental factor that comes up in the mind and has the power from its own side to make the mind unclear, restless, distorted, and unsubdued from its own side. Yeah? It's very difficult when you have desire for something. It's very difficult to take the mind away from the object. When you have aversion towards somebody, it's also very difficult to take the mind away from the object. You carry it with you, even the object is not there mentally. It's as if we're glued to it by these things. Because desire and aversion, they need an object to feed them. So the best antidote is you see the negative emotion arising, you feel it, becomes tense and narrow. And then you put your awareness and your attention on it. That means you take the mind away from the object and you go inside and you explore it. How does it feel? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it long? Is it short? Is it this? Is that? And it will fizzle out very quickly. But what we do, and this is called inappropriate attention, we let the mind on the object of desire or aversion. And we start to, like a painter, we start to make it, with aversion, we start to make it more unpleasant than it actually is. With desire, we start to make it more pleasant than it actually is. This is what these kleshas, can we call them kleshas? Because then the whole pack is like mental poisons, afflictions, negative emotions, all this. It's kleshas. The cause, a part of the cause for our suffering. So the bliss, the strong bliss for liberation. Liberation from what? Being liberated from these kleshas, which then means not being reborn again and again and again and again, because it's desire for existence, desire to have pleasures. Yeah. So what is it? Attachment to pleasures, to views, to existence, and to non-existence. These are the four desires that we have. You can also have, sometimes when you made a mistake, what you would like that the floor opens and you disappear. This is desire for non-existence. Yeah. We also have that sometimes. So we have all four of them. So then, led by this pure thought of, I want to free myself from these negative emotions, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. So there you have to train mindfulness and alertness. Either you do it alone at home, but that's very, very difficult to have a constant practice. You need to train that every day, not just once a week. Every day, even if it's just 10 or 20 minutes. And then you extend these periods. And then you carry it out into your daily life. You don't need to sit anymore after a while. Awareness is there. It has become a habit. The same way as we have developed the habit of not being present, just a habit of being lost in thought all the time. You can develop a habit of being present. And then you see when they start to come up, then it's like, that little plant you see in your garden when you know your garden and you say, oh, this is a weed, I don't want, and you pull it out. By putting your awareness on it and by applying an antidote. So the problem is that we're letting them grow. We notice them maybe slightly, and then we even feed into them. So we water them, and we put some fertilizer on it by the thoughts like how bad this person is or how terrible that situation is. And then we're surprised that we have a habit of getting angry all the time, or that we are full of desire. Yeah? So we're kind of slaves to these negative emotions. And we give them our little finger, and then takes the whole hand, and we don't apply antidotes. Or we, when they're really very big, then we start to apply antidotes. So it was Geshe Sherab who said, like these, anger is like a forest fire. Yeah? Like when it's fully flared, it can destroy a lot of things very, very quickly. Yeah? Then we take a cup of water, like a little bit of patience or a little bit of compassion, and we try to kind of pull it out. So you see, the antidotes that we have, they're totally underdeveloped. The antidote for anger is patience. It's totally underdeveloped. Yet we would have so many occasions to train it and to make it stronger. So many things that make us agitated. But what do? We get angry. We want to push the situation or the person away. Yeah? We blame the other one for our anger instead of saying, okay, how would you need to give a reason for patience, to be patient. What would be a good reason for your mind to calm down, to become patient? Patience, by the way, is not, clenching your teeth and saying, I'm not going to move, although Shantideva says it. Just behave like a piece of wood, and then waiting until it's finished. Patience is you're open, you look what is happening, and you're not reacting in a harmful way. Patience is a mind that at all costs does not want to harm. Neither yourself by constantly rehashing the story, nor others by playing back, by being angry, unpleasant, and so on. So, how would you be able to generate patience? What kind of view would help you to be more tolerant, more accepting? What kind of view, for example?
Compassion.
Huh?
Compassion.
Oh, compassion. This is a very, very high. Try it out. To be angry at somebody and then you want to have compassion for them at the same time. Your ego will go berserk and say, no way. This is why, of course, the direct antidote for anger, that's what we learn, is love and compassion. But for us, too far away, and for me, it's too far away. First, I have to learn to calm down before I start generating some kind. Because the ego says, no, 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 this person happy, me helping this person, no way. If it would say it, by the way, I would see how unreasonable this is. But this is just instincts, impulses. We act like this. You know, it's very deep-seated views that don't even need words anymore. Yeah? So, what kind of view would help you to practice patience?
Why you're angry, or
Not why you're angry. Not to act out the anger. To allow the anger to die down. To practice patience. Isn't that patience is the antidote for anger?
to see everybody as equal?
To see everybody as equal. Also, this person doesn't want to suffer, but they will make me suffer. And that's what will come. Yeah. But yeah, to see everybody as equal. What would be another antidote for to help you practice patience? Huh?
Temporary.
That everything changes.
Impermanence?
Yes.
No. Impermanence is the antidote for desire.
What is it doing to you? Your anger.
Huh?
What your anger doing to you?
For example, that's what I wanted to say. Go and look into the mirror. How you look when you're angry. You look ridiculous. Very ugly. Yeah. So there was a Swedish guy, he had the courage to ask somebody, please take a picture of me when I'm really angry, because he had a problem with anger and he didn't know what to do with it. He blew it up and hung it in his living room. Would we have the courage to do that? No, you know. We only the smiley ones, the nice when we blow them up and then we hang them up or we put them on Facebook. Put the picture of you being angry on Facebook. Look at that. We want to be attractive. Anger makes you feel totally kind of, disgusting or non-attractive. No, but the law, the effect, the law of cause and effect, oops, something is coming back here, something that I put out. If I react now with anger, it will, there's a question like this, which is very good, this cycle of I do it to you, you do it to me, then I get angry, I do it back to you, and so on. So let me stop that cycle. Let me not create a new imprint, for example. My responsibility, I started it, for example. But also this thing, what does it do to me? When you're angry, there is nothing you can enjoy. And your view of the reality is totally distorted. Have you ever tried to explain something to somebody who was angry at you, the situation? Have you ever tried? We do it again and again and again. Has it ever worked? No. Why? Because they don't want to. We enjoy our anger. The ego likes the anger and it wants to feel it. So when you come with counter arguments, of course, this is why compassion doesn't work. So then, of course, it says, no, you don't understand what is going on. So don't even try. Agree with them. That's much better. When they go, wow, you're terrible, you say, yes, I know, I'm really sorry. And I know what I did is not wrong. That maybe will make them calm down. Maybe. They will be so shocked, especially here in Israel, that it will immediately shake them out of their aggressive kind of behavior. Because that's not what they expect. That you say, yeah, no, it's my fault, I'm really sorry. Yeah. But it's a good way. And I've seen it, then you get into the habit of actually doing it. At one point also, somebody was angry at me, but righteously, because I told her karma yoga, she should do this, this, and this. But then, I thought it was not possible for her to do it because somebody else was leading the meditation. And I was down already in the kitchen, and her job was to put the cookies out. So she was still in the meditation with the meditation leader. I was in the kitchen, so I did it. I thought I was doing something good. Wow, she came down, she said, why do you give me this job and afterwards you do it yourself, you're a control freak, or wow. And I just said, very spontaneous, I said, yes, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done it, because she's right, on top of it. Finished with her anger. because she got an affirmation that what I did is not right. So don't try to explain that what you're doing to make the other person angry is the right thing to do. Just say, yes, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I didn't want to make you angry. Yeah, that's a good way of, but again, it's not about others, it's about us. Yeah. Okay, so for that you need awareness, mindfulness, so that you see it when it comes up. So instead of staying with the object, you immediately, first you come inside, and then after a while of training, it needs very little for you to be able to say what you want to say, but with a calm voice and with a calm mind. You know how it is when you're angry. Your voice is up here, what you're saying is not completely true. It's either omitting a few things or it is exaggerating a few other things. You only see it from your point of view, and you don't want to see it from the other person's point of view. When somebody else is angry at us, then we see it very clearly that this is like this. When we are angry at them, then no, it's not like this. I am right to be angry. I have the right story here. Yeah? So mindfulness, alertness, great caution arises. So great caution also means when we know that this person is constantly making me angry and I have a possibility to stay away from them, you stay away from them and you work with your anger from the distance and then you approach them again. The root of the teachings is keeping the pratimoksha vows. So you take vows. Yeah, of not doing this. First is like abstaining from negative actions. The 5 lay vows, pratimoksha vows, are not to, blinking, so I might get empty at one point. But anyway, it's 10 more minutes. So, not to, yeah, actually, yeah. Not to kill, not to steal, not to take intoxicants, not to lie, and not to have sexual misconduct. Now it works. Yeah. These are the 5 lay vows that you can take. Oh. Thank you very much. So these are the 5 lay vows that you can take. You can take either 1 or all 5 or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever. So you decide. When you take refuge, in general, 1, it goes with taking lay vows. And then the other day, a few years ago, the Dalai Lama in Sarnath, he says, okay, I'll give refuge, but people will have to take the 5 vows. Otherwise, I'm not giving refuge. Otherwise, it's not serious. If you want to go on this path, in this Buddhist path, and not just to be a Buddhist because it's fashionable, and not taking the 5, these very simple precepts, is like, what do you do? Yeah. So by the way, taking vows, it doesn't mean that you are totally able to abstain from it. Taking vows means I will train to not do these things. Because that helps you to get to the goal of not doing it. If you wait with taking vows until you are able to 100% keep them, you can wait a long time. And then also you don't need the vows. The vows are just the walls that are kind of helping us to go into the right direction, not to go left and right. Yeah? This is why we're taking vows. But it has to be your decision. But if you are thinking of becoming a Buddhist and you go like, no, I don't want the vows, a bit strange. Yeah? Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Please give me the intelligence to be able to see the benefit of this. Okay, so we kind of looked at anger a little bit. Then we can look at desire, what desire is doing. Desire is clinging to something and reifying it, making it real also. And also, like, if we wouldn't have so much desire, how things should be, we wouldn't have so much anger and frustration. Because we have unconsciously very clear ideas how people should behave with us. Don't we? Expectations. No? They should be kind to me, they should not lie to me, they should not cheat me, they should not get angry at me. If I make a mistake, they should be understanding and helping and forgiving. This is what we expect, isn't it? Then when we don't get what we expected, then we get angry. So the problem is not how other people behave, the problem is our expectation. So the standard for ethical conduct for other people is incredibly high. Very high. They should be impeccable. Never do if they do it to others, not so bad. But if they do it to me, no. Our own standard is quite low. So maybe the expectation of other people, how they should do, make it lower than your own behavior. Because otherwise you'll constantly be looking kind of at them saying, I am so good, and look at them, what they're doing. Yeah? It's not changing them, so there's no need, no use looking at others. Don't become that very good person who's constantly criticizing others who are not doing that. So desire has it an aspect of, if I get the thing, I will have lasting happiness, and that's the problem. Looking at the thing that you desire is seeing it has a kind of promises you lasting happiness. If we would be realistic, we say, yeah, this ice cream, it will give me short moment, like from here to here, this much pleasure. Should I buy it? Should I not? Yeah? Is it worthwhile? But we don't. We fall into the trap. And we don't stop long enough when we have eaten the ice cream or the chocolate or whatever it is that you like. It can be, me as chips, me as salty things, not so much sweet things. So when you finish consuming it, at the beginning is this the promise for happiness. When the ice cream is finished or whatever it is, you stop for a while and go, now what? Where is that satisfaction that was promised? And you leave it at that, and then you look. Yeah. And then maybe one day you have a friend who cannot afford ice cream, and you buy an ice cream for the other person. And then you look what kind of feeling that produces. Whether that lasts a little bit longer, or whether it's as short as you eating the ice cream. Because happiness is good. It's good to look for happiness. But we need to look for happiness where it is, where we can find it. Like a positive action that you do with somebody else, just thinking about it makes you feel good. So the more we have of those, the better. I don't have to go out and eat and buy all this ice cream or whatever. And last in the course, I think it was Yom Kippur, and I didn't really mention it, but I was a little bit shocked when somebody said, I was afraid to help that young person, that mother to carry out the pram from the bus, because I thought people will think that I'm doing it for my own happiness. And I thought, so what if people think that? And even if he does it for his own happiness, it would be a very intelligent thing to do. Much better than not to do it. But we have these expectations that people should do positive actions without any self-interest. Do you see what I mean? If, of course, he has the expectation that then this woman will kind of be grateful to him for the rest of his life, that would be a little bit tricky. But if it's just, I help her, it gives me a happy feeling, what's wrong with that? What's wrong to think like that? And what I noticed, it's not a criticism, but what I noticed, it's especially Israeli people who have a problem with that. That they say, oh, but it's selfish. What is the problem if I'm kind to you because I recognize it's better for me also? Where is the problem? Can you please help me? Because I don't understand this argument. Like, being ethical when you do it because you don't want to be reborn in lower state, that is selfish. I don't understand this argument. I don't understand this reasoning. And then it's negative kind of thing. So therefore you shouldn't be ethical. Can you please help me? Can you please explain where that comes from? Huh?
It's actually a win-win situation. You've done something.
Yeah, but